a writer, and Canadian. I welcome you to join me today as I share an original story called Pen and Paper, and I will explain why I chose this story to share with you in my podcast diary. On that note, before we begin, I would like to share that this is a diary, which means as I begin, my format, my production, my content will be far, far from perfect because I have been a writer a long time, but not a podcaster. I have a bit of a learning curve ahead of me. So, if you choose to join me once in a while or throughout the entire year, you will be able to witness my organic growth and learning in my adventures as I learn how to use Podbean to create these podcasts. In the same vein, this is a diary. This is a podcast diary. The purpose of this podcast is to share creative content, to share commentary, to share thoughts, to share reflections. This is not a teaching guru, I'm going to solve your life podcast. But if you want to come somewhere where there's a little bit of positivity, maybe something interesting, something funny, or something thought-provoking, this is the place to come. I'm trying to create something, an alternative for people. So as a diary, similar to an actual physical diary, if you've ever kept one, it will be messy. There'll be digressions. There'll be things off in the sidelines. I could laugh. I could cry. I could be serious. I could be silly. And that could all be in one episode. But as a new podcaster, I do make some promises to you. In fact, I make 4. I promise I'll be here once a week. So, once a week, let's get together and spend some time to share a positive thought, a positive story, a piece of art, a beautiful experience, whatever's going on in my life. I promise I will bring you something positive. Number 2, my content is original. All of my content is original, from stories to art to reflection to contemplation to commentary. Number 3, I will always I will put out positive content because that is the mission and vision of this podcast this year. I live in Canada and currently in North America and on social media, it is very fearful and anxious and scared, and there's a lot of finger pointing and there's a lot of unhappiness in the world. And so I wanted to not be a part of that. I wanted to offer something else. So number 3 is I promise it'll be positive. And number 4, as part of a regular format, and I did this in the first season, I will always leave you with some questions at the end for you to think about and contemplate and walk away with. And it's my way of kind of thanking you for coming and spending time with me. And it's my way of, the best way I can do is give you something to take away from the podcast. So now we are at the part where I am ready to share my story. But before I do, I will tell you a couple of things. It is long. It's about maybe 15 to 20 minutes to share. So I recommend and suggest that you put me on pause and go do what you got to do. Run to the bathroom if you have to. Grab a beverage, a coffee, a tea, wine, beer, vodka, tequila, whatever works. Get yourself comfy. Put on some big old fuzzy slippers. Curl up on a couch, lay in a bed, sit on the back deck, whatever works. And make yourself comfortable. And then when you're ready, unpause me and we'll start the story. Welcome back. And now, the story, Pen and Paper. The cliché of time heals all wounds is missing a very key piece of direction for it to be true in every case. Please allow me to explain. The human body is a magnificent and incredible thing. Yes, physical wounds, cuts, broken bones, and burns will heal over time. In these cases, the cliche does hold true. When you have wounds that run where the eye cannot see, you need more than time. You need an understanding of how to best allow the magic of time to heal those wounds and allow the cliche to be true. The difficult part is when wounds are not on your skin, but in your mind, in your heart, or in your soul. If you choose to ignore your invisible wounds, they will seep deeper into your heart, your mind, and your soul, and quietly burrow and fester, becoming stagnant, infecting your health by slowly choking and crippling your ability to fully live and engage in your life. These wounds need to be studied and understood in order to be cured. I know this from experience. I have had many wounds to attend to over the years, and I use my art and my writing to study the depth of a wound, its origins, and how I can best use time to heal them. That is how I found myself in a writing workshop called The Cardinals Sing. I knew I had some grief I needed to explore, and hoped that this creative space would reveal to me something that I needed to heal. I was not disappointed. I am grateful for a prompt that led me to a piece of writing I am about to share with all of you. This writing exercise invited me to explore and navigate and learn from my own history. I am humbled and happy to have this opportunity to share my discoveries with you in hopes it could make you smile or think or feel something unexpected. Allow me to share how a simple prompt, a pen, and some paper took me back to discover an invisible wound I never saw and allowed me to finally heal. February 22nd, 2025 is a magical day I am forever grateful to have experienced. Here is the evolved piece of writing from that day, as I have needed to flesh it out. I will begin my story by sharing how crazy it is that I cannot recall if it was 2008 or 2009, but in the spring of one of those years, I had heart surgery. I was in my early 30s, and my life was in flux following a series of events that broke me down. These events broke my mind, broke my spirit, and finally broke my heart. Literally, I had a hole in my heart. In 2006, I lost my mom to lung cancer. That was the event that broke my heart, stomped on my spirit, and pushed my mind into a state of numbness and avoidance of facing my grief. The grief of losing my mother after losing my Aunt Ruth, my mom's sister, in 2005 was surreal and pushed me into automatic mode so I could function in my day-to-day. Aunt Ruth had had a long struggle with a form of dementia called Pick's disease. Pick's disease slowly caused atrophy in her brain, stealing her speech, her personality, and her memories. Our family also had an unexpected death in the family in 2003 when Shane, my brother-in-law, passed away from a seizure while preparing Mom's birthday dinner. After Mom passed, I felt helpless in easing my sister's anguish and sorrow of losing her mother and husband. I pushed my own sorrow down to stay level for her. The first big hit of this 4-year streak of grief hit my heart and soul in 2002. In 2002, my dad passed away from choking on some food. He was living in a nursing home due to his struggles following a long recovery from falling off of a roof in the late 1990s and developing dementia. In 2006, when Mom died, it broke my heart. Literally, I needed that heart surgery. Yes, the doctors told me it was congenital, but I never, ever had any problems in 33 years until the time after Mom passed away. I know my broken heart was from the passing of my mother. You will never convince me otherwise. In 2007, I believed that I was okay. The reason I believed this is because that is when I met Mike, the man who one day would be my husband. I felt like I could breathe and relax with Mike. He was someone who had sympathy for my losses, but was not connected directly to any of them. This gave me comfort, which I mistook for healing and love. I framed our encounter as a gift from the universe, as something I deserved after all the loss I had experienced. Perhaps, in a way, it was a blessing. Prior to knowing I needed my surgery, I became very ill and was in a lot of pain. I could not sit, lay down, or sleep without being in pain. The pain was in my shoulders and my back and my neck. It became so crippling I was hospitalized and had many, many tests. The doctor discovered I had what is known as walking pneumonia. That's a pneumonia where fluid can get into your lungs. The strange thing with me, though, is I had no fever, so it took several tests to determine I had a lot of fluid which had collected in my lungs and was pushing on my lungs at the same time. That was the source of my pain. These tests also revealed a hole in my heart, large enough that they could be seen plainly on an ultrasound or MRI or one of those many exams. I recall the doctor describing the damaged area as large as a loonie. It was wonderfully quick from the time of diagnosis to sitting in my hospital room, waiting for my turn in the OR. I was prepped and ready for my surgery. Mike, the fellow I was dating, was with me. I was hooked up to the IV in a very stylish blue hospital gown that didn't fit quite right and a pair of purple fuzzy socks. After waiting for over an hour, the hospital staff had to cancel my surgery due to not enough beds being available for post-surgery. At that time, Mike lived in a different city, so after removing my IV and getting dressed, he dropped me off at my apartment with a hole in my heart. 1 week later, the surgery took place. It was successful. My heart was healed, and so now it was time to recover. I returned to Shadow, my cat, and my apartment to carry on in this crazy adventure we call life. In the years since, I have attended stress tests and appointments for my heart. I moved to Guelph to be with Mike. We got married. We got divorced. In 2018, I moved again to a new city, the next chapter in my life. Was meeting Mike a blessing? I'm confident it was. I just don't fully appreciate why yet. I do trust it is, though, because our marriage and divorce made me stronger and wiser. Other things that have happened since 2018, include losing my best friend to cancer, losing a gentleman I was dating who died suddenly, and I still don't know why to this day, and in 2020, another one of my best friends passing away from an overdose. Now I am ready to share with you what I wrote that day at the workshop. The prompt in the workshop was given to write about a unique experience to me and how I remember it. It was a timed exercise, and this is what was scribbled out onto my paper. This part of my revelation, this part of my story, this part I have not changed since I wrote it originally. Today, as I sit here writing this exercise, I often realize that my mind and soul focus on the losses that I've lived through and experienced over the last 15 years or so. But in this quiet moment, as I listen to my pen scratch my notepad, I am reframing that I was not alone. My heart, that muscle in the middle of my chest, has been my true friend. It is always with me. It never stops. In fact, we just climbed a mountain in the Dominican Republic last week and slid down some waterfalls. My heart has kept me going, kept me creative, and been there to keep me alive. I thank you, dear heart. I am happy to have had my surgery and kept you strong. My summary of this unique part of me is that I have a working heart, and its strength is in how it never asks for credit, but just keeps beating. Those were my words and revelation from that workshop in February. I wish to come full circle now, back to the cliche of time heals all wounds, and share the idea that invisible wounds, like grief, heartache, guilt, shame, and fear, they need light to heal and grow joy, confidence, love, and peace. This kind of light is not the kind we get from the sun or a lamp or a candle. In this discussion, the light is the reveal and the transition between being lost and confused to grounded and confident. Over the years, I have figured out that there are 3 types of light that will heal your deepest, your darkest, and most painful invisible wounds. They are the light of understanding, the light of patience, and the light of vulnerability. Who am I to teach and preach such ideas? A good question, and a question I've asked myself many times on this journey. I am not a doctor. I am not a professor. I am not even a social media influencer. I am an authority because of my direct experience with my invisible wounds. I am also a writer and a storyteller who wishes to inspire, educate, entertain, and connect with you, my audience. I am someone who attended grief counseling and support groups. I am someone who explored my relationship with God, the universe, and my place within it. I am someone who dove deep into creating art and writing because I had to. It was necessary to look inside myself. It is the only way to see your invisible wounds. This was how I lit my light of understanding. These experiences accumulated over time and revealed to me my fear of disappearing without a trace, or worse, of being alone the rest of my life after losing so many of the people I loved so many times the past 20 years. This was my real invisible wound. I thought my wound was grief for each person when in fact it was fear of losing my place in the world without my family, my friends, my husband, and my faith. I was scared that it could be true that I did not matter, or would ever be missed or loved or wanted. I did not know it until the light of understanding showed me how deep and entrenched this invisible wound of feeling abandoned and left behind was rooted in my heart. The light of understanding propelled me forward. My understanding now let me be someone who got myself off of antidepressants and walk away from toxic and unhealthy relationships. I am someone who worked out and did boxing and Muay Thai and weightlifting to raise my physical and mental health to a higher place. I am someone who prayed and faced my inner critics and demons with the understanding I was in battle for my healing and for my health. This is the light of patience. All these decisions and things needed to be done and practiced over and over and over and over again every day to heal. These things were not easy. Moving forward was not easy. I did want to stop and quit. Sometimes I did. Quitting just let the wound stagnate and hold on tighter to my heart. I lost some battles with those demons, and they lost battles to me. Today, my demons and I have paths that cross, but we no longer have battles around my abandonment wound because of the light of patience and the light of understanding. Patience as a light can be slow to shine, but when it's finally on, you fully see without a doubt your invisible wound, all the messy and infected and disgusting parts of your wound. Nothing is hidden. When your light of patience is paired with the light of understanding, they show you that you are healing slowly over time. You must be patient and disciplined in the actions you must take to help heal your wounds. be it prayer, exercise, counseling, journaling, or anything that will make you stronger and healthy. I am someone who challenged my fears about my worth by putting myself out there with my art, my writing, attending classes and workshops, and sharing what I know. This is my light of vulnerability. The light of vulnerability is the most powerful light of these three lights. The light will chase dark shadows away to reveal how understanding plus patience have healed the invisible wound. The healing of my abandonment wound has made me stronger, more confident, happy, and grounded. On February 22nd, 2025, when I attended that amazing writing workshop, I had no idea I was going to shine a light of vulnerability that would reframe the last 15 to 20 years of my life. I had no thought that simply putting pen to paper for a writing exercise would teach me that I was never alone and that my heart, my physical heart, my creative heart, and my spiritual heart was with me the whole time. I now know I have mostly healed that wound of abandonment and feeling alone. There's a scar there that can be tender sometimes, and that's okay. The wound is healed, and I know that because today I live in Fergus, surrounded by love, joy, new family, new friends, and new experiences like that writing workshop and spending time with you here in this moment through my words. My friends, I wish to leave you with these final thoughts. The cliche of time heals all wounds has an addendum of time heals all wounds when there is a light of understanding, a light of patience, and a light of vulnerability. The hard part of the cure that's hard to swallow is that you will need to let go and release what you think and what you think you know and feel. Healing only happens when you learn to stop listening to the outside world and you are able to trust that your own mind, your own heart, and your own soul will be steadfast over time. They will be your constant, your guiding light in this crazy adventure called life. I am someone who learned my heart is my friend, my fuel, and my fighter. Thank you for letting me share how my pen and paper gifted me this magical moment right now with all of you. Now might be a good time to put me on pause one more time and maybe do another bathroom run or refill your drink or whatever else you need. When you come back, I will share why I chose this story, some thoughts on it, and then end the second entry to my podcast diary. I'll be waiting. Welcome back. So, I have a couple of goals. I want to get this done in about 7 minutes because I want the whole episode to be about 30 minutes. And I just want you to know this is off the cuff, out of my brain. I have nothing written down, so I will do my best. So the thing that I love about this story is the fact that I did not intend for it to be something to share with you. It was just a little exercise for me to explore myself. But then what's amazing is the proof of what I've learned and what's the content of my story is true, because you don't know what will happen when you heal. And I didn't realize I was applying the light of vulnerability by doing the workshop, because that led to me actually sharing this story at an event that just happened in Fergus this past weekend called ENCHANTA. And so I got to share this story plus another story that I've written. And what prompted me to share this story with you today is after each reading, because there were 2 nights, the Friday and the Saturday, and each night I had someone who I'd never met before come up to me, and they said to me that my story touched them and that I should keep writing. And they both, each person individually each night, basically said the same thing, that they really enjoyed my story, that it resonated with them, that it touched them, that it made them feel something, and that I should keep writing and sharing my stories. And the woman, there was a gentleman the first night and the woman the next night, and the woman asked if she could hug me. And right there, I realized, wow, maybe I do have something that I can offer the world. Because part of my struggle last year when I was trying to do this journey is I still had a lot of things in my head and my heart where I didn't believe I was worthy. And I was struggling, and I had some things I still had to go through. I was still going through a stage of light of patience. I had a lot of understanding. I had to keep doing some things. And this September, a year later, I'm finally ready. So here I am sharing it with you. So in that venue, what I will do is I will leave you with some questions. But before I do that, I want to explain there's a new feature in my podcast that I want to do every episode. And it is a reminder that we all are, but you have the ability and the power to improve the world. And I'm being sort of dramatic about that because I feel right now the world is a very dark place. And I actually came up with this theory or this thing during COVID. I was at home and I produced a thing called Stories and Stuff with my puppet Willie. And at the end of every episode, as our sign off, we would say, share your smile, share your laughter, share your love. And how I came up with those three things is in COVID, as many of you know, if you've lived through it, we had to keep social distance. So I had to think of three things people could do during COVID to bring joy and to connect with those that they love, whether they had to do it through video or from 10 feet away or whatever it was. And a smile is a wonderful, magical thing. Just try it. Try it anywhere. Just smile at a stranger, and I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, they'll smile back. Share your laughter. There's a reason they say laughter is the best medicine, because it is. So in my series, Stories and Stuff, we would tell dad jokes, and that would be the laughter. And then, share your love. And, I think people automatically think of love as hugs and kisses and cuddles and stuff. But love is more than that. Love is kindness. Love is compassion. Love is being a friend. Love is being a good family member. And there's all sorts of ways you can show love. And I could do a whole episode on that. So I'm not going to I'm not going to dwell on that here now. But moving forward, at the end of every episode, after I do the questions, I am always going to sign off and say, don't forget to share your smile and share your laughter and share your love. And let's plant seeds of happiness, pockets of happiness all over through this world, because I think this world needs it. So I am still learning the controls. I wish to bring some music back. Let's see if this works. And then I will ask the questions I want to ask you guys. There we go. I think the music's back. Can you hear it? I hear it. So if I hear it, you probably hear it. So, based on the story I've shared today, the question I wish to leave with you, or the couple of questions, are: do you have an invisible wound that needs healing? And if you do, where are you? Are you at a stage where you have a light of understanding, you know where it came from? Are you in the stage of healing where you're using the light of patience and going to counseling or journaling or exercising or creating art or writing songs to work through it? Or are you in a place like I am right now, in a light of vulnerability, where I'm finally actually believing that what I create has value, what I create has something worth sharing, and that perhaps I will be able to offer this world something of value, despite not being a big name, despite not being an influencer, despite not being the perfect woman, despite not being perfectly beautiful. Maybe all of those bits of me put together do have something to offer. And maybe the same is for you. Same as, are you in a place of light of vulnerability? Are you finally putting yourself out there? Are you loving yourself? Are you being true to yourself? And if you're not there yet, that's okay. It just means you might be learning your understanding or applying what you've learned. So, I'm about a little bit longer on the episode than I wish to be. So I am just going to leave you with all those questions and summarize them up in the one question is, or two questions, I guess. Do you have any invisible wounds? And where are you in your journey of healing? And with that, I ask you and invite you to help heal the world and create a positive environment on our planet Earth by sharing your smile, sharing your laughter, and sharing your love. I promise I'll do the same, and I'll see you next week.